Hello, welcome to Best Top 5. I'm Best Guy. So, 2017 left us with a really bad taste of a lot of shitty movies, but not all of them were bad. There was actually some really good movies. And yes, there's some that I didn't see, so don't get upset if I didn't mention Shape of Water, or The Darkest Hour, or the Three Billboards in something, Missouri. So, but I did see a lot of good ones, and I'm going to be mentioned here in this top 5 list. So an honorable mention that it didn't make it to my top 5, it did make it to my top 10. It's a movie called Brigsby Bear, which not many people mentioned this movie. Some people did, but not too much. And it has Mark Hamill in it. I don't know the name of the lead actor, but the whole story revolves around a kid who's really into this TV show that he grew up watching, and he finds out the dark truth about that TV show, but he still wants to finish the last episode that was never released. It's great for people who like cinema and people who grew up with like 90s nostalgia and stuff like that. Check it out, but it didn't make it to my top 5. It is on my top 10 though. For number 5, I have a movie that I was a bit split on the decision of whether I thought it was good or bad. This movie called Split. When I saw it in theaters, originally I was a little, I guess I'm the type of person, I guess I'm a hipster in a bit, because whenever people really like something, I'm a little bit like, oh, why is everyone liking this stuff that I originally no one knew about, and that being Unbreakable. Because no one knew a lot about Unbreakable. Like, it's within the past 4 years or so, people have been talking about Unbreakable, but I remember seeing it when it came out in the year 2000. And the reason I mentioned Unbreakable is because there is a connection with it with Split. So Split, I saw it again. I saw it back to back with Unbreakable, and it's a great movie. It has great cinematography. It's a great performance by James McAvoy, who I think this is probably his best role yet, because he was playing like 14 different personalities, and each personality has a different quirk and a different thing about it, and you don't know who is playing who, and it's really, really good. The twist is not really a twist. I already said it here. It's not a twist. It's just that these two movies are connected. It's just Split and Unbreakable. If you're upset about that, everyone in every part of the internet has mentioned this. It's not a twist. It's just like, oh, look, this movie is connected with Unbreakable. I really think it's a good movie, and not many people mention this on their top 5 movies. I really think it's worth mentioning and watching. Number 4 is a movie that I didn't have high expectations for. The other 2 movies in this series, I didn't think they were that great, especially Part 2. Part 2 is pretty bad, and that's the Thor series. And Thor Ragnarok surprised the hell out of me. I thought this was a great, fun movie. It made me laugh. It entertained me from beginning to end. It's so different to the other ones that took themselves way too seriously. This one was a joy to watch. You can tell Chris Hemsworth is having a blast playing this character, and it's one of the better Marvel movies that I've seen in a while. Probably this one and Doctor Strange are 2 of my favorite movies that have come out from Marvel in the past couple of years. I'm not the biggest superhero viewer of movies, even though everything now is superhero movies. But those are the 2 that surprised me the most, especially Thor Ragnarok. That's why it makes it onto this top 5 list. This is enjoyable. It's fun for everybody. So number 3 is Dunkirk, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion of whatever movie they like. I thought this was one of the best movies of this year. I really enjoyed it. People who are complaining that there's not enough character development in Dunkirk, because it's really very much visceral in terms of the war. You're just seeing action going on from beginning to end. And there is stuff happening, there is dialogue. But every single time people say that there's not character development, what do you want? You want people to be in a room talking about their lives back at home and stuff like that. That's unnecessary. Do I think it's the best war movie of all time? No, I still think Saving Private Ryan is a great movie. There's other movies out there that I think are better war movies. But for this year, I hadn't seen such a great war movie, and it has some of the best aerial footage of fighter pilots. It's a really good movie. Even if you're not a big war fan, you're going to enjoy this movie. It starts right away with a bang, in a good way. Number 2 is a movie that I saw the trailer, and once I saw the trailer, I was like, this better be good, because usually when you watch a trailer and it's good, it ends up being a bad movie. Batman v Superman. But Get Out, I saw the trailer, and I was surprised when I saw the movie that it was just as good or even better. That's how you make a trailer, because a trailer doesn't reveal too much. It shows you a couple of things that are going to happen, but it doesn't really reveal everything. And Get Out was such a great movie. I had a blast watching it. It's how a horror movie should be made. It's a smart horror movie, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Twilight Zone episode in a bit. And from what I hear, apparently the creator of this movie this movie kind of feels like a Twilight Zone episode. It's stretched out into a feature-length film, and it's actually Jordan Peele is going to be working on a Twilight Zone reboot. I'm not sure if it's going to be a movie or if it's going to be a TV show, but apparently he's going to be working on that. But this movie on its own, if you're a horror fan, if you're a fan of good storytelling, you're going to enjoy this movie. So number one, this is a movie that I was very, very worried that they would ruin it, because I'm a huge fan of the original, and that's Blade Runner 2049. When they announced that this movie was going to be made and that Ridley Scott was going to be behind it, I was really worried, because Ridley Scott, he has made classics like Gladiator and Alien, you know, and whatnot, but he's also made shit like Robin Hood and Alien Covenant. Fucking piece of garbage. But he made a great choice of not directing this movie, because I guess he was working in the movie All the Money in the World, and they instead gave the project to Denis Villeneuve, who is the director of Sicario, Enemy, and Arrival. So, and I thought that was a great decision to give him that directorial duty. And of course, the cinematographer of his choice, which is Roger Deakins, who I hope he gets an award for his work in this movie, because it's amazing. Every still in this movie, you can pause this movie, print it out, and it's gorgeous. This is a rare sequel that I've seen it twice since its release, and I think that this is probably even better than the original. Simply for the reason that the original went through several versions. It went through the theatrical version that had a narration with Harrison Ford that he did not want to do, but Ridley Scott insisted on. And then it was re-edited into a work print version, which you can now see on the multiple versions that are available on DVD. Then you had a director's cut that was not approved by Ridley Scott that removed the narration and added a unicorn sequence that is ridiculous, that was leftover footage from the movie Legend, and then the final cut that was approved by Ridley Scott, which they used color correction, and he retouched and twinkled with the scene of the unicorn. That's a movie that's been worked on several times. It's never been perfect. However, I still love that movie. It's a movie that pioneered a lot of science fiction movies, a lot of science fiction anime, like Ghost in the Shell. Movies like The Matrix were inspired very much by Blade Runner. Even the photography in some movies like The Crow copied from Blade Runner. But Blade Runner 2049, in its own right, chose to make something that resembles to the original, but it also extends into something completely on its own. That's why I think it surpasses the original. And I would definitely get this when it is released on Blu-ray. So that's my number one movie of 2017. I'm pretty sure there's other movies that I didn't mention that are probably on my top 10. They're just not on my top 5. But let me know what they were. Leave it in the comment section down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time.